we do finally get the last ban out. It was the Slark from Thunder Predator, and well, we get a Centaur coming out. I like this, John. The team fight from Thunder Predator right now is very, very strong. Um, Assumedly as well, the Snapfire doesn't necessarily enjoy going into a Centaur who has Stampede and can, if he still has it, get the whole team out of a team fight while those kisses are flying out, or they could just, juke around with that Stampede movement speed.
Yeah, it's not going to be as easy of a time for the Snapfire to find that maximizing of that spell. Still, you are still waiting for the combination that EG is going to be pulling out. I think with that Centaur pick from Thunder Predator, you could possibly go for that Mars here. Like, you just kind of take away the capability of running away with the Mars, and it combines quite well with the Snap. They do go with the Timbersaw in the end. Still a great hero to have, especially against something like that Centaur. Eats right through those strength heroes. Gonna be a bit tricky playing into the Earth Spirit just because of the silences and the stuns that are available. But again, you've got the Nyx Assassin to break up the combination follow-ups anyway. So it is a bit of a safer time here for that hero.
Thunder Predator, fourth pick. That Timber's going to be a real pain up against this draft of Thunder Predator. Like, the Centaur's going to hate having to go up against this Timber. Because they don't really have... I mean, they have pretty darn good lockdown on Thunder Predator, but nothing instantaneous in case the Timber does just chain away. Still, the Radiant side, they're going to think about this for a bit, this fourth pickup. Because we are waiting for a position 1 and 2. I wonder, do you just go ahead and snap pick a Morphling again? It didn't really work in game number 1, but Morphling up against Naga Siren generally isn't the greatest matchup.
I don't think the Morphling fits in too well. I reckon perhaps you go for something a bit faster. Again, you've got this lineup that can engage and disengage quite fast. You've got some really aggressive supports. I wouldn't be too upset by something like the Gyrocopter, just by how Thunder runs it. They go with the AM. All right, so it does make an appearance. It's going to be interesting to see that up against what EG does have. Keen to see why exactly they'd go for the AM in this case, though. Like, there's nothing in particular that really stands out, except for the fact that there isn't any hard lockdown to punish a pick like that, so the biggest thing they have to keep this AM in place is the Nyx Assassin. And that is pretty much it, right? So there's a lot of leeway for Thunder Predator to play this hero on its bleeding edge, but beyond that, there's not anything too favorable to play up against. Timbersaw's Chakram is still going to eat through you if you're not careful. You're going to have to watch out, so the pure damage that can come out is not going to be blocked off. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's happened. Meepo will come out for Evil Geniuses, John. We know it's a direct count towards the Anti-Mage. Obviously, the nets. Anti-Mage doesn't necessarily like being netted up. And Meepo was there. I mean, it was still available to be used. There's no real counters towards it.
10 seconds
I gotta say, I mean, this is already so rough. Abed Meepo up against 0 counters from TP. Like, what do you do here?
They still have one more pick to go into, but yeah, the support picks aren't going to be great against this. Their off-lane pick isn't amazing as well. They're going to need something to come out for their mid lane that can kind of match up against that, and that does give EG a bit of a draft advantage off the bat. They certainly have worked themselves up to that point. You can play quite aggressively with that Meepo, and of course it's an Abed special. Not going to be too hard for him to go back and play that Meepo once more.
10 seconds
What can you pick here for Thunder Predator, though? Like, what could you possibly pick up that would fit the mid lane up against the Meepo, and they'd be able to actually kind of counter this pick?
It's rough. Like, honestly, nothing from the top of my head even just pops up. Perhaps something with a decent amount of burst. I know it's just rough because there is a certain point where the Meepo can get a bit wild. You could maybe make something happen with Alina and some support rotations. You can definitely bully out Meepo. As long as you kind of maintain your leveled scaling as well, you can kind of make that work. Of course, as the game progresses and as the Meepo picks up a blink, you're going to have a rough time. But if you just want to kind of keep him in his place, you could go with like the Lina. You could go with like I believe we've seen SF before. That one sounds much more rough. Like it's much harder to pull off, but you could go for that route.
Radiant
Uh,
team pick.
Otherwise, I think you just find something that can perhaps just slow down the Meepo. You might have to definitely rotate the support in there to secure that lane, or at the very
Is that a
least
pos
slow
one
down
slaughter?
that. Hmm.
That's a
Possibly.
position one slaughter.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like we've seen that a couple of times, right? Like it's still
10
certainly
seconds
strange. It's not the norm, but it is something you can pull out, and it
5
does
seconds remaining.
kind of work. I mean, he has been nerfed slightly, but the gist of it is still there. It can still work out. This is definitely a very aggressive lineup from EG. They don't want to ride this one too long, right? They want to end this game fast, maybe as fast as game one. They are putting all their eggs in that one basket, but I do like the confidence in this draft.
All right, well, Kunkka comes out. Interesting draft to say the least from both sides. I think we probably both agree that Evil Geniuses has the upper hand going into this game with this draft. Of course, there definitely is potential from Thunder Predator, that's for sure. It just seems like they're going to need some kind of amazing start, and they just can't let that momentum die down if they do find the start they need. Otherwise, Evil Geniuses, once you have Arbed's Meepo up, obviously Slaughter doesn't need much to be aggressive. What else do you do after that? Like, once we hit 10-15 minutes, if Thunder Predator hasn't had a big lead by that point, I just don't see them being able to pull off this win unless they drag it out super late. But even then, Anti-Mage up against Meepo, John, like, what are you going to do?
Nah. It's going to be rough, right? Like, Thunder Predator needs to somehow hold off, stem the tide against this Meepo, and if you can ride out the wave, I mean, EG's lineup will eventually taper off. Your itemization will be able to match up against that. It's really down to timing. If EG can play that aggressive early game, then it's going to be hard for a Thunder Predator to buy that time. I have to point out, Mike, I'm not sure if you were looking at it. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but Abed's Meepo looks horrendous.
Really?
Look at that. It's just a big ass mask.
Hold on, mate. Hold on. I'll have a look in a second. Snapfire is currently blocking my way.
Just look at it.
Straight to the bottom
You look
with
at the
you.
portrait picture.
Oh
It's
my
just a
goodness.
mask.
You
Is that the-
remember
This is
that.
terrifying.
That's the new cosmetic, though, isn't it? Isn't it? I
You're
like
I-
the
I-
backpack. The backpack's pretty cool.
I mean, the backpack's great, but this is giving me some Crash Bandicoot vibes. Except it's way too detailed, so it's just mildly disturbing. You know?
Thank you for pointing that out, John.
Look at his silhouette while walking. It's hilarious.
Oh. TZ actually down at the bot lane. So he is playing Pos 1 Slaughter, but he's playing it in the off, and it looks like they are going to put the off lane Timber in the safe lane. Ramses, of course, will be on top of that.
To battle.
And again, TZ and Leo Style going at it with each other. Leo Style, a very, very angry man.
Hey, what kind of scam you running here?
Doesn't look like Thunder Predator is set up for that first blood right now. They are going to be walking to those bounties, but no one really overextending.
Oh, nice roll in from Matthew. Just kind of swipes the banner in away, and he's going to go for the secondary one. Scanner Blast will land, however, and looks like the slow is going to be enough to ward him off. Artezi did come back in just in case he thought about it. How much was that for each team? Well, it's 2 for 2. Pretty even start. Talk to me about the mid lane, though. Leo style on the Kunkka versing the Meepo being played by Abed. This should really favor Leo style, at least for the first few minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna take until you get your first Meepo out, and that's when you could probably just apply a little bit more. For the most part, Meepos tend to take until level 5, level 4 when they really start to kick in. At very least, they can start farming jungle early on, or at least stacking once that first replicant is out. So that's the key thing. But the Kunkka can pump that damage out. It's a bit of a danger range because you're melee, so the poof can come out as well. But you can interrupt with your torrent, so it's a bit of a trade there.
Top lane. A very aggressive lane coming up from EG. We saw MNZ falling very low on the anti-mage before. Has already lost half his HP once again. Crit and Ramses will not back off. MJZ is what I meant to say, is trying his best to force them back a little bit and buy a little space for MNZ, but this lane looks to be very, very EG favored.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be rough to play up against it. I think you just need that EXP onto crit for it to really start riding out, to cancel out the harassment from MJZ. Even then, like, they're already just keeping MNZ in check. It's going to be just a bit harder for the same to kick off. Of course, once you're out of mana on the Tiramisai, you can't really apply as much damage as you'd expect.
It's very true. MJZ just going to continuously come in, throw the liquid fire out. And actually Matthew, bot lane, ends up finding Fly on the snapfire for the first blood. Of course, Frank was there to assist just a little bit, but looks like he didn't really need much assistance anyway. And so that'll be the first blood to Thunder Predator's crit now. Going to start falling very, very low on the Nyx Assassin. MJZ just gonna hang around. Just ensure crit can't actually get close to try and harass out MNZ on the anti-mage. They're just going to keep trading away. In fact, Courier about to go down. MJZ couldn't quite finish it, so Ramses does get the regen he brought out. Print going to continue to punish the Jakiro for even thinking about it. In fact, the Impale is up, so he could go for another kill now. MJZ does stick charge up, but it will not matter. Crit does eventually find the kill. And MNZ,
so far,
he's very low right now.
Not having a great time. As long as Ramses can pump out that damage with mana, it's never going to be a good time for this AM. In fact, that creep damage is hurting him a lot.
Well, MJZ will bring him a set of tangos and a salve. So he'll be back up and running. Ramses, of course, having a decent time. 14 and 5 in terms of last hits. Not really struggling. Of course, we'll have a look to the Earth Spirit, who's falling very low. Matthew. Gonna be okay. And, well, mid lane. Arbit, also falling rather low on the Meepo. But, of course, he can just TP back to the fountain and play around with his Meepo clones. And looks like he'll be fine as Fly. Gonna be chased down now on the Snapfire. Arteezy will be there to try and help out with a stun of his own. He won't be able to get in range. But Fly walks out of there alive.
Yeah, so far, just a fairly even game from both sides. The aggression is kind of matched up, like you're seeing just as much aggression from Thunder Predator down bot as you see from EG up top. They are keeping these safe lane heroes in check pretty nicely. I think the one thing that is running away right now is Abed's Meepo. Of course, not really contested too much down mid. We haven't seen the resources coming out from Thunder to slow down that Meepo, so this should be a pretty good start for Abed.
It's a little shocking though, isn't it? Like, you'd think they would have rotated at least the Earth Spirit down to try and go for something on this Meepo, but they have just left him alone. You did see quite a bit of harassment coming out from the Kunkka, but it's not enough, right? Because the Meepo could always just transition into the jungle and just farm up just as fast there.
Yeah, it's not going to be too hard for Abed to just escalate. That's one of the things with Meepo, as we mentioned. Once you have this clone of yours, this replicant, it's going to be easy to stack up for yourself. It's going to be easy to switch to a different farming area, and Leo Style kind of missed a window of opportunity where he could really abuse the weakness of his hero.
Well, they're going to try. X will be there on one of the Meepos, Leo style, throwing in the boat and Torrent, though Torrent doesn't really connect, and now they're cooking from Fly, allowing Arbit to get further away, though he should still fall, and does. Fly now going to be a sitting duck, doesn't really have anywhere to go. Leo style will be the one to pick up a double kill on the Kunkka now. And we were just talking about it, they do eventually get there.
Yeah, it took a while, but they do manage to find those pivotal kills onto the Meepo. This is going to help Leo Style out a fair bit. And this is going to slow down the EXP progression for EG. Like you saw Crit walking down there on his Nyx trying to help out. So he's just not finding as much EXP as he'd want. Is back up top though, and applying some harass onto the Jack.
Yeah, MJZ doesn't really have a way out of this. They will TP at least the Earth Spirit up, so Matthew going to try and help, but it's all too late anyway. The Leo style now rotating as well on the Kunkka. They should be able to find Crit as a trade. Leo style will be very happy to pick up another kill. It will at least buy a little bit more space for MNZ, who's had a really, really rough time with this anti-mage.
Yeah, it's not been good. The lane matchup has just been atrocious. I'm surprised they actually didn't opt for a lane swap, but this is a very, very bad start for AM in any case, and this is just going to mean that he's not going to find that good early battle fury that you want AMs to have. It's going to be slow going for MNZ.
Well, he's left the lane alone to MJZ on the Jakiro. There's bot lane, bit of action going on. In fact, they're all diving down to go after Frank on this Centaur. Boat's going to fly in onto Arteezy. They want to take down this Slaughter, but he's a little bit too tanky. In fact, never mind, he's not. Leo Style does eventually get him. Now Fly, going to be X'd up, has nowhere to go. Matthew and Leo Style getting rid of him. And that's 3 heroes just disappearing off the map for EG.
Yeah, this punishment coming out from Thunder Predator is paying off massively. They're managing to slow down these early game heroes from EG. They've made it pretty hard for Arteezy to just get up and running, although he's still having better time than the AM. Abed now is actually behind Leo Style in terms of net worth, and that's not quite where you want the Meepo to be at. He has a lot of farming to do on this Meepo just to make sure he's ahead. But so far, Thunder have been keeping EG in a pretty good check. 7-2, 8 minutes in. Just a minor net worth lead, if any at all. But this is pretty okay for Thunder Predator. They're not going to be too upset as long as Abed is not farming too wildly all alone, and they are keeping good vision there. They do manage to find this Meepo pick off, I think. They'd set themselves up quite nicely.
They're going to start pushing mid, Thunder Predator. They want to open up that Dire jungle. X going to be there. Boat flying in. Fly tries to dodge it with the cookie. Will not be successful though. And that T1 going to cop a fair bit more damage as Leo Style does have a double damage rune active. They are going to rotate more in. Arbit, in fact, finding MNZ in his own jungle. That anti-mage trying to get some free farm in the Dire side jungle. Turns out it wasn't really free. And that mid tier 1 as well, being defended successfully by Ramses on the Timber.
Yeah, they do manage to hold on to that objective, but now Thunder, they know where Abed is. They're going to try to find him.
Pretty close. Matthew gonna spot him out. Abed not gonna enjoy this position as he does get silenced up and slowed. He needs help. Fly comes in on the Snapfire. Still, he has no real way to heal him up, but he does throw a cookie out. That'll at least allow that Meepo clone to get up. And now the Stampede, they just follow him down all the way. Silence him up again. Abed, he does put a tree down, but it will not be enough. Arteezy even joining in on the Slaughter, going after this Kunkka. They'll get the Bash of the Deeps off, and well, Leo Style, he's fairly tanky thanks to that run buff, but it has worn off, and that should mean that Leo Style eventually just dies. So he will Fairy Fire up now, just delaying it even longer. Earns up in front of them, but does go down.
Yeah, it took a while, but they do manage to find those counter kills now on EG. And you're still going to be fairly okay if you're Thunder Predator, but bleeding any kills in any way to EG with such a tight net worth gap is going to cause issues. Like, that's going to allow EG to just get up and running once more. the Meepo is still a very, very big threat, although you do have the Kunkka right behind in terms of net worth. Not quite a big enough gap coming out from Abed still. Has a lot more room to grow. I think the biggest issue right now for Thunder is still that AM. The farm on MNZ is just not good. He needs to get that space going for himself, but EG has been keeping tabs on this AM to ensure that they wouldn't have this split push whenever EG does decide to fight.
Ramses, you're going to end up finding Frank on the Centaur. Was Crit with that Vendetta just able to scout out for the team. We'll take the outpost while he's around.
Radiant structures are fortified.
EG just taking their time. There's no rush for this dire side. They don't really want to give up this mid tower though, and Ramses, he will be there to defend. Doesn't really have any mana, but just his presence alone appears to be enough to just back off and wait for another day. Leo style, just try to push out the wave a little bit. Does actually drop a little bit of an item there. Ramses won't go for it. And, well, the supports of Thunder Predator are going to smoke up. Line being drawn out through the dire jungle. Nobody's going to be in that vicinity, though.
Yeah, they did kind of smoke blind. They only had that one ward they passed by. No wards on that high ground anymore.
They're basically just going to not find anybody. Looks like they are looking for a Meepo clone. Or just Meepo in general. Abed's been sticking to the east side of the map. In fact, the whole of EG are just sticking to the right side. Safety in numbers. They're going to start slowly pressuring that bottom tier 2 tower. Ramses again will show himself mid lane, but there's not really anything they can do about this Timbersaw yet. More than happy to just chill out. Just keep farming up the mid. Has no mana, but just doesn't care. So they are going to spot out Frank. Frank, you're right. He has Stampede anyway, in case he needed it. They are going to fight bot. X on there on crit, although boat, it will connect, but the Spike Carapace is going to be there in time. Now the hoof stomp all on this Nyx Assassin. They do get the kill, but Ramses, he wants to fight. He's got no mana to speak of, but doesn't matter. Abed, he's chasing now on the Meepo. They don't really catch anybody. In fact, Matthew managing to roll away for now. Still, the chase is there, dropping all his rocks with this Magnetize. Gets a slow off as well, but the Magnetize not really going to do that much damage. And eventually, he does go down as Abed. Now, going to look for another net over onto MJZ. He misses, however, but has more Meepos where that came from, and they will eventually find the secondary support in the Jakiro.
Yeah, you're starting to see some of that punishment coming out from EG. Thunder Predator, they're going to have to be really careful about how they take these fights. Just going to have to be really picky with the defense as well, because you're still trying to buy space for that AM, right? Like, he's still trying to farm up. Even your Centaur is not in a very good spot. So you've got to wait for these heroes to be up and running to face off against the damage flying out from EG, and it's just not there. They need to try to maybe buy a bit more space for their Kunkka instead, because he's pretty much up and running and ready to go, at the very least in these team fights.
That he is.
Radiant are scanning.
But the rest of Thunder Predator may not feel so confident. MNZ still really only has the Perseverance. He's not really that close to finishing off this Battle Fury. Meanwhile, EG looking to set up on a Roshan. Of course, just with level 1 Corrosive Haze is pretty viable. Just go for a quick Rosh. Thunder Predator, though, of course, are going to check, and Frank is going to run straight into Arteezy. Though stun will be there before the Hoof Stomp comes out, and now the net's flying out from Abed, and they are going to find this Centaur very, very quickly, and now they want more. Corrosive Haze on Matthew. They won't be able to catch out the Earth Spirit, but perhaps MJZ would be a much easier target. In fact, they leave him be because they want to go after Leo style on the Kunkka, though Impale doesn't land from crit, but it doesn't matter. Arteezy has the stun. There's Fly throwing in the Mortimer's Kisses now, and this poor Kunkka has nowhere to go. He is tanking a lot of damage though, but it will not matter. Does go down eventually as Abed. He will find the Jakiro, and he will take down the Jakiro.
Yeah, again, EG just managing to find every single thing when they come out here. You cannot afford to give EG these sorts of openings. This will allow them to take the Roshan as well. So Thunder Predator not quite in position to go for that. They do have the Stampede if they want to contest it, but it doesn't look like they're set up to do so.
It'll be a very easy Roche. EG claimed the first Roshan of the game. Abed now, with that Ethereal, with that Aegis, going to be feeling much more confident to start roaming around the map and trying to find pickoffs. In fact, he may find MNZ right now. In fact, never mind, they want to go after the Centaur again. And with all these nets coming in, he's got nowhere to go, and Ramses with the Whirling Death just finishes the job off. Though, it looks like mid lane, they may find one in the form of Arteezy. He's falling rather low. He almost ended up finding MNZ. In fact, never mind Arteezy, still surviving throughout all this. Jewel Breath will come through, but he's just running forward. He doesn't care. Ice Path will eventually take him down, but at what cost? 3 for 1. EG, I don't think they're upset about that.
Definitely not. Having a pretty good time in these exchanges, EG. We've finally reached a point where Abed's Meepo is up and running. I mean, he's had his E-Blade for the past few minutes now, but he's very close to his Blink Dagger as well. He still has his Aegis up. He has no risk in going for these kinds of plays. In fact, he's going multiple plays across the map now.
We'd love to find that anti-mage. Won't quite get the chance. Man, this Battle Fury, I mean, it's looking to be around, you know, that 19-20 minute mark. It's not the worst we've ever seen, but it isn't really great either. It's very, very late. Not that you can blame him, though. Mid lane, Fly, does get caught in an Ice Path, does get taken down. Ramses, he wants to keep going as Abed is there to help. Again, they jump on Leo style, while Ramses, he goes after the Centaur. Leo, he just melts. MJZ also ended up going down to Arteezy. They'll go for a mid-tier 2 now.
Yeah, there's nothing Thunder Predator can do to stop this. And there's just no defense. They're going to have to ride it out just for a bit longer, maybe wait for their Kunk to be back up. But EG, they've got no patience. They understand this is when they're strong. This is when Thunder Predator can't do a single thing. And they've got to maximize this period, and EG certainly is.
Yeah, they found MNZ apparently. Arteezy picking up the kill on the Slaughter. He does get his Battle Fury up, but that's not really going to help anything. So he's lost his mid-tier 3 tower. And Abed looks like he's found Frank again. Poor Frank does get netted up. Tries to go digging with the shovel. Eventually does, well, should die. Ethereal Blade doesn't do the job. I thought I saw him trying to salve up through all that. Doesn't really matter as Abed does grab another kill on the Meepo. And look at this, he's going for more. He sees MJZ. He's not quite close enough to go after the Jakiro with the net. But what does it matter? You've got full control over this map, and they are going to push mid.
Yeah.
Just takes no damage, apparently, this Meepo. And Idrax going down very, very easily. No real contest.
They've still got the Aegis on Abed as well, so all of this is fairly low risk for EG. And there's just nothing Thunder Predator can do.
Apparently they didn't finish game 1 fast enough, so they want to try and beat that record this time around. Abed just going to keep whacking over on those bot tier 3s. Leo style. It's like, what do you do here if you're Thunder Predator, right? You've got to find a way to get in here. You've got to find an opening, but EG, I mean, they're not giving them anything. Even Arteezy, maybe that's an opening. He gets X'd up. Boat will fly in with the torrent from Leo style, but Cookie will save him for now. And you know EG are more than happy to take this fight if Thunder Predator want to go for it. Net will land onto Frank. They won't actually make the jump. Rather, they want to go back for that bot Rax. Maybe they even back out. EG, they've had enough.
Yeah, does look like it. They are just going to let that creep wave do its thing. They are keeping Ramses around there. I think that's the right call. Just leave your Timbersaw somewhere a bit more forward. It's not going to die instantaneously anyway. Just try to buy some space.
Speaking of buying space, that whole time we saw the Raxes being taken, MNZ, he was just farming the dire side jungle. Trying desperately to catch up in net worth, but he's less than half the Meepo right now. He's about 3.5k behind Arteezy. Sure, with the Battle Fury things escalate, but not if there's zero space on this map.
Yeah, and as it is right now, there is zero space in the map. They can't go out to the jungle. They can't farm these lanes well. They've lost all their outer towers. They're playing against an Aegis Meepo at 20 minutes in. And this is when Meepo is just at its strongest. They have no response to this combination that EG has right now. Their only solution is to try to wait for their AM to get big, but there's nowhere to split push.
EG, they're just going to come forward. Smoke breaks on Leo style. They will not react.
Are under attack.
And well, Spike Carapace, Impale, Leo style, he's just gone. Ice Path Macropire was there, but Arbit's not really taking that much damage, as now they may just turn around and go after MNZ. Nets not flying out yet, but well, here they are with those Mortimer's Kisses onto Matthew and MJZ, and my god, they're burning alive. And that's it. GG Warplay has been called. I cannot blame them whatsoever. It's a very rough game to try and go into, and well, I mean, we talked about it. They didn't have the counters for the Meepo. EG picked up the Meepo at 4th pick, and I guess you could have guessed this was going to happen.
Definitely. Just a bit of an outdraft by EG this time around. Just looking at the weaknesses Thunder Predator opened up with and manipulating that does close out this series quite fast and does give EG its first 1 series. 2-0 up against Thunder Predator. A good bounce back for them after pretty much drawing to OG Seed. And that does tie us up for this stream today, Mike.
It does, of course. If you did want to watch more Dota, there is plenty more to go on the main stream, I believe. We'll be back tomorrow for some more great Dota for the Lootbet Dota Summit 12. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We're on Twitter if you wanted to follow. Otherwise, we'll see you all again tomorrow for some more Dota. See you then.